Hey guys, so in today's video, I want to make sure you do not make this mistake. The mistake I'm talking about is basically having any key part of your business operations reliant on any single channel. This is something that is probably less relevant for those of you who are starting out in business, looking to get your first clients, recruit your first cleaners. But this is particularly important for those of you who are maybe more established in business, maybe running a decent six-figure, even seven-figure cleaning business. And the reason I wanted to make this video is because I've made this mistake on a number of occasions. And, in a couple of the occasions, it nearly put my business under. So what I mean by this is that, when you have a business that is starting to grow nicely, you're getting some consistency in your marketing, you're getting consistency in recruitment, maybe you've got office managers involved, you've got good processes and systems laid out, you've got good software helping you with your efficiency. It's at that stage that you could become complacent, and that is certainly what happened in my business. I'm going to give you a few examples of what I mean by being over reliant on one channel. So the first one to talk through is about marketing. This is probably the easiest and most understandable of them. So a good few years ago, my business was growing well. We were probably at that 500k plus in annual revenue level. We were growing nicely. We had lots of great clients, lots of great cleaners, things were going well. But the main issue that we had was the vast majority of our client leads was basically coming from SEO. We were working with an SEO agency, paying them a fair amount of money each month. We were at 4 locations at the time. And they were basically running all our SEO for us. And we were getting lots of traffic, lots of growth, everything was moving in the right direction. And suddenly, within the period of about 2 or 3 days, our web traffic fell about 75 to 80%. That happened in a very, very short amount of time. We saw, we saw our lead volume suddenly get, really fall within a few days. And within a week of that happening, after some diagnosis of the problem, we saw from our Google Analytics that our web traffic had really fallen down. What basically materialized is that, as many of you will know who have been in this game for a long time, and you have a website, you know how important Google is, Google SEO, Google Ads, Google LSA. Google is really the devil, that you need to know. You need to play by their rules. And this SEO agency that we were working with at the time had, it conspired, had some, we were using some grey hat SEO tactics. What grey hat SEO is probably something I will need to discuss on another video. But when you are trying to rank your website in Google for terms like maid service near me or best house cleaning companies, there are various things that you do on your website. There's various content you add, there's various images, videos, you try and get backlinks, all those types of things. And what happened was that the SEO agency that we were using had basically built out our location landing pages in too similar a fashion. It was a duplicate content penalty. That is not to say that every single page for our locations was exactly the same, but Google deemed them too similar, and basically gave us a penalty and said, we need to change these pages before we rank them again. So Google didn't give us any warning. Simply the algorithm stopped ranking our pages as high. We were getting less traffic, less leads, and that is why our lead volume really collapsed. So, we were in a relatively lucky position in that, this industry is a great one because there's lots of recurring revenue. We had all our recurring revenue still there, still generating income. But what that meant was that our new client lead flow had completely dried up. We were still churning off some recurring clients every month, and that is very typical. But we need new clients to replace those that we lose, as well as some additional ones to help us grow. So where I'm going with this long-winded story is that things were going very, very well. Things were growing very nicely, but I hadn't identified the potential risk of having too many eggs in one basket. Too much of our new lead source was in Google SEO. And when that went wrong, we didn't have a significant enough alternative to really replace things very quickly. And this was a good while ago, probably about 6 or 7 years ago. At the time, we hadn't really run much in terms of Google Ads. It was something I'd looked at closely, but it was at that stage that I massively ramped up I basically taught myself Google Ads, and Google Ads very quickly became the dominant driver of new lead traffic while we were rectifying this SEO problem. And at that stage, after that had happened, I vowed to myself never ever to be completely reliant, very reliant, more than 80% of our traffic on one marketing channel, because some things will go wrong. If you're been in business for long enough, something will go wrong. Things never stay the same. So we, on the marketing side, now run a handful of channels, as I've talked about in other videos for us. Despite the issue that we had with Google is still extremely important. We have an SEO campaign that is up and running again. We're running Google Ads. We run Google local service ads as well, and then some other non-Google channels, some of the pay-per-lead sites, your Thumbtacks, Barks, those types of channels as well. So we have multiple marketing channels. And now when I look at marketing and say, okay, if Google Ads went away, or if Bark went away, or LSA went away, would we still have a decent amount of client volume to come into us? And we do. And that's a great position to be in. So this is, a story of how I learned it the hard way. You, as cleaning business owners who are established and been in business for a little while, you need to ask this question of yourself for every key important part of your business. The same could be talked about for recruitment. Many of you will know that Indeed is really effectively the Google for cleaner recruitment. Most of your cleaners will be recruited on Indeed, but in exactly the same way, we need to make sure that if something happened to Indeed, where would we get our new cleaners? In exactly the same way that clients churn every month, cleaners will churn. And those of you that are running more established businesses will realize this. So I've come across numerous examples where Indeed have been giving out suspensions to client accounts. And it's not happened to us, but I fully expect at some stage something will happen. And if something happened to Indeed, do we have sources of new cleaners? And around that time, after we got through the Google SEO penalty, we then looked at recruitment. We realized that we can't be reliant on one channel for our main for any of the key parts of our business. So we make sure we have cleaner referral systems. We make sure that we are putting post-it adverts on local shops. We make sure that we have some Facebook visibility in the local communities on Facebook. We have a fair percentage of our workforce is foreign labor, and there are lots of Facebook groups where they are focused on people who are living overseas. So some of our cleaners, for example, we have Romanian and Bulgarian cleaners. They will go into these groups on Facebook and post and see if people are looking for cleaners. We obviously pay our existing cleaners each time they refer someone to us through those groups. But this is just an example of a few other non-Indeed channels that we've built out, because if Indeed went away and we didn't have those channels, we would have very, very little cleaner, new cleaner candidates coming in. So you need to be thinking about this question. You need to pose this question: am I over reliant on any single part of my business? If that went away with no notice, what would happen to your business? You know, we've talked about marketing, we've talked about recruitment. You also need to think about the exact same thing with other parts of your business. So let's say you're scheduling software, you know, where all your clients details are based, all your bookings are based. What happens if that software, for example, gets a bug and you can't access it for 24 hours? What happens? You know, how do you know which jobs for your cleaners, you know, to send out your cleaners? How do you find their contact details? You know, you need to ask all these questions, and really, you know, it's a case of doing separate backups to that software is the way that we've got around that. Another example: what happens if your website went offline for a day? You have a web development company, and maybe something has happened. You know, maybe there's been an update and suddenly your website's offline. What happens? You know, can you restore a backup? You know, do you have another website that you can direct people to? How do people book cleanings? You know, can you take bookings over the phone, for example? Another example is what happens if your phone software stops working or your phone number stops working. So the reason I wanted to make this video is that, you know, when business is going well, it often becomes the case that you will do more of what is doing well for you. You will, if SEO is doing, again, lots of leads, you'll do more SEO. If you're getting good results with cleaner recruitment on Indeed, you'll invest more in Indeed. So this is great, but we also need to be aware that we don't become over-reliant on any single part of our business. And really, when you are building a business long-term and looking at your business as a long-term asset that will generate you income over the years, this is a key question you want to ask. So I want to make sure that you guys do not make the same mistakes that I've made. And I want to make sure that you do ask this question. You know, there are many, many elements in your business, but start off with the key ones. What would happen if any of those key parts of your business went away? What would be the result? How could you mitigate the impact of that result if it happens in the future? So I hope you found this video helpful. Do let me know if you've got any questions in the comments below. As ever, if you found the content helpful, just click the subscribe button and you'll be notified of future videos. I'll leave it at that. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.